Alright, this is Dave, and I'm going to do some virtual co-working. I totally don't feel like working on anything. So, but, the challenge this month is to figure out a way of getting past this resistance. And so I'd made something that I'm calling a reactionary habit. I don't know what I'm calling it, actually. But the idea is that it's much easier to react to something than it is to come up with something to do from nothing. So that's what this is about. So let me just jump into the screen and just see what I've got going on here. This cat is going to be a problem, though. Oh, it's cold still, sweetie. Alright, so this is over here in the middle here. This is the ritual, and I've been rewriting this each time I've done it. This will be the third time I've used it since making this up yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday. I don't remember. I am suffering from bad insomnia at the moment. So like my days start and end at mysterious, unpredictable times. But the project I'm working on is a blog system that will hopefully be something that's fun for me to use and also help me organize all the various bits of knowledge that I collect. It's kind of an interesting, I think it's an interesting project. Yesterday I'd end up running a lot of documentation. But today it's time to actually write some code. And so let me just read this. So the idea again is to be able to react to something. So to react to something, I made a list of things that I thought might work based on past experiences, just trying to get unstuck with things. So I'm going to force myself to read this. I've been trying to make this as short as possible. Preparation. I'm going to remove the... One less word to read. Take a minute to observe, then mindfully dismiss others' thoughts. I don't want to do that. Well, let's take a minute. Here I am taking a minute. So right now my head is a cloud. I'm going to try to talk about what I'm feeling right now. So what I feel in my head is this resistance to wanting to do any work. I'm waiting for some food to happen. I'm trying not to let the cat screw up my work. Feeling tired. I actually did go to the gym, so instead of energizing me, though, it's made me kind of sleepy. Even though I did not spend a lot of time there. It was 25 minutes of cardio. I didn't even push myself very hard this time. It was good to be back. Why don't I feel like working? This is the question. I guess I'm feeling... Well, right now I'm feeling a little bit annoyed with the cat. I feel that there's a lot of things to do. I feel beset by a lot of chores. I feel that there is a lot of things happening that require my input, but I'm not getting any input from anything else. A little bit stressed about the number of bills that I've just gotten in for a print run. It's manageable, but it means that I'm not reducing my credit card debt as fast as I want, so I'm a little stressed out about that. But I'm hoping by the end of the year that I can get down to very low. If I can get under $5,000 and carry that and whittle that down over next year, that would be great. But since there's not a lot of contract work right now, I'm between jobs, I have to be a little bit more careful about this. So getting the blog back up is important to me. So I guess why don't I want to do the work, though? I mean, it's boring. It seems boring because I don't know what I'm going to do. And I feel mentally fatigued and don't want to force myself to do it. I'm going to look over here back at the screen. So let me somehow, I haven't dismissed the thoughts, but I have observed them. So now can I dismiss them? The grand scheme of things, there's not much I can do to control that. There's nothing I can do right now that will fix that. There's only changes I can do right now that hopefully will alleviate the condition in the future. So take a deep breath. Let me add that. Take a breath. Oh, that's the front. take a breath. Then take a minute. Why is everything uppercase? Try not to let that annoy me. Take a breath. If you're just tuning in, I'm just trying to start this ritual of getting into the mindset to do some work that I don't particularly feel like I want to work on. And it's important for me not to indulge that feeling and to feed that negativity. So taking a breath, then take a minute to observe. Is there anything I can do about them? Oops. The fuck? God, I hate these rich text things. I'm very sorely tempted to swear my ass off at things that are bothering me. But let's take another breath. I should light a candle or something. Is there anything I can do about it? How about those? That might not belong in this thing. Let's just mindfully dismiss those other thoughts. Let me turn off that infernal beeping. Warming up some food. Let's see. Which one was that? Okay. So I'm poaching some chicken, but it was frozen, so I'm just going to leave that in there. And the rest of this stuff probably can come off that, and they'll just stay warm. I've been vacuum sealing leftovers, so they just need to reheat in warm water for about 30 minutes. So I don't have to worry about anything boiling over or like catching on fire. It's kind of nice. So take a deep breath, a minute to observe. So you're noticing that I'm just going through this step one over and over again. I'm trying to get it to a place, I guess, where my mind is calmer. So now I gotta look at this GHDR summary. I reformatted this again since I last showed this. So last month, battle between nihilism and optimism. I'm kind of in that place right now still, trying to get out of it. How to transform the way I engage with the world. Want a new expressive website, that's what I'm working on right now. This is what I'm working on. These are things I probably don't need to remember, but it might be good for reread these guidelines for being my best self. To express what I like, to be positive. These are about people. This is all relative to people. So that's not actually that useful. So I might have to add on to that. Well, let's go back to here. All right. Oh, I need to make sure I'm logging efforts from my previous session. That actually might be helpful. So let me switch to camera 2 here for a second. And there's a cat butt in the way. So what I'm going to do is find my Immersion Task Planner notebook. Where is it? Is the cat sitting on it? That's weird. Where did it go? Oh, it's in here. Weird. There it is. I'd packed it. And what I want to do, and this is maybe a good way of just kind of getting into the project. Remember where I left off, is to make sure I log the work I did earlier today, it turns out. I started this at 2 a.m. So it's been a long day already, and I'm trying to do in the second work chunk. One thing I did do was I went to see the printer. I'm just running it down here. See if we can get this a little closer. See printer about new products. That was a very good thing related to e-commerce. So that gives me some stuff to think about. I guess I did log it. And so here is, this is the stuff I want to make sure that I log before I erase it. Let's see, do I have this? Yeah, okay, so I need to go this one. All right, so these two are the equivalents, all right. So, I want to note what I had here. So I'm just going to write over here. Notes. 1. I felt childish resistance. Told it to shut up. Shut up for a bit. I would be a terrible parent. And then I remember the blog. I wrote finally ate something, then came up with 4 easy questions that had a not definitive, but I had an idea of how to approach it. That seemed answerable. In finite time, or immediately. So maybe the immediately aspect is what's important. And so what I mean by that is these questions, like down here, if these are the questions: are there JS libraries for text file parsing? Is there an optimal source doc to publish doc arrangement? So these are questions I could go look at and get a sense yes or no, at the same time piquing my curiosity with stuff. So the 4 questions are up here. 4 easy questions. Is there anything else I want to note on this? They triggered, this is worth noting, they triggered curiosity, boop, 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 perfection, desire, optimal pattern, making, and desire for a great document. So these are compulsions that I have, that once the compulsions help me work, and in an absence of having anybody who's actually around telling me to do this, the compulsions maybe are the next best thing. So that's kind of where we are right now. Let's see. So now, having done that, I can actually remove all this stuff. And this I don't need anymore. So I highlighted, this is the next question. What's the next task? Right. I'd forgotten I'd highlighted this. So I'm looking at over here. So I just deleted all that stuff that was there before, all this stuff that I just transcribed into this notebook. And I'm going to do some free writing into there. And I'm deleting the old stuff, because these were the questions I was asking just to get myself moving. And I'd highlighted earlier what I was doing. I'll leave this stuff here. So now let me read this. Make a direct, so I want to actually read a thought file. So this is the to-do list. And this is where I'll keep track of those notes. So this is the Wednesday evening to-dos. I'll just keep this up on this other monitor over here the other monitor that you can't see, just so I can look at this and remember what the hell I was doing. Just adding some bullet points to this. Alright, so I think I know what to do. Now it's making myself do it. That's this. Make a directory structure. And boy, do I feel tremendous resistance. But I forgot to do something up here. I forgot to look at this, the work session. Launch the necessary programs and gather files first. Alright, I'm going to set up the desktop here. So this goes on this side. This, I guess, can stay here. And I need to launch the text editor, which is there. I suppose I should launch source control. Source tree. Did that do anything? What happened? Didn't launch? It says it launched. No, this is a dumb Macintosh thing where it never actually opens a window. How come it's not doing anything? Oh, it's because it's behind this. And why is it not opening up in the second monitor? Has it forgot my settings? It did. Why does it do that? So, Thautomata is the repo. And I just want to make sure that I'm monitoring these changes as I do it. So, and then also, while we're here, I probably should pull this up. So what I'm basically doing is I'm setting up the development environment so I can start implementing the stuff that's on this list here. Actually, I might as well just keep it up here. So this is the list. All right. Now I have to actually work on this, and boy, does it feel! It still feels difficult. There, what can I draw upon to make me want to work on this? Do I need to take another breath? Do I need to, you know, like it's like the step that I'm taking is just so is pretty small, so I know how to like make a file someplace and copy and paste it. But I think what's getting me down is like knowing that this is actually quite a few steps to get from this point into where I see something. So, and making a file is like almost, it doesn't seem particularly exciting or rewarding. And I think because this has been such a long day, even though I did take a 6-hour nap in the middle of it, this is where I need to actually go be mindful and take the breath, and also not feed the negativity that I'm feeling, the boredom, the sense that this is one in many steps. It's only me and making a file. Everything else is fine. And seeing if I'm buying any of this internally. Not exactly. I know it's intellectual. I know it's true. It's just this thing. I just needed to make this one file. But there's this resistance in me that just doesn't want to do it. Where is it coming from? Yo, resistance, what's up with this? Why don't you want to open one stupid little file? You taking a stand? Showing me how tough you are? You know, I'm tempted to just like say I'm being stupid. And I am treating like this resistance as an equal. And perhaps in the sense of negotiation, I shouldn't. You know, I can be kind of a dick about it. Say like, you know, what have you ever accomplished, resistance? All you've done is stand in the way. And I can't abide that. It's a destructive force, and you are not part of me. It comes from inside my head, and you might think that it's part of me, but I do not. I do not ascribe to this, empowering my own resistance to tell me that it wants that its viewpoint is equally valid to all my other viewpoints. My viewpoint is I'm going to open this file. Damn it! Now I need to find the fucking thing. What did I just do? So let's see. What am I going to do? Let me close this. Let me open GitHub. Here's the wiki for it. And this is the file I need to create. So let's copy this. Let's go over here and see. So I've said that there's a certain how come there's an extra screen that's there? Let's get rid of this. What was I saying? There's a certain file structure I had in mind, which is down here somewhere. That's the file structure. So let's make that file structure. So this will be in, where is it? We dsay, I think it's in dev, Thautomata. I don't think I'll even need this build directory anymore. Let's see, build, so I can reach out. This is actually the code itself. I think that can stay there. Snippets, that probably should be part of the build. I'm gonna move that to build. Then I'm gonna make a new folder, and this will be HTML. This will be my public output directory. And then I also need, that will be filled with stuff. These are all generated files. And then there's a thoughts directory. Oops. And that's where my thought is going to go. And in the thought directory, we can actually have arbitrary subfolders. In addition to thoughts, we have common media. And then we have things, images and downloads. I also have the build system files here too, but maybe that doesn't need to be here. Or maybe I rename this. This is code. Let's rename the system. Let's move package.json out. So now I'm looking at these files here. Thoughts is really our top level directory. That's the source. But I want to sort it so it's a little bit more grouped. And common might not be. The idea for that was common media. Let's rename this to media. So if I look at this package arrangement here, do I know where the runtime starts? Maybe not. So I'm thinking of how this works. So we have HTML, which is like the public HTML. Let's rename that to I think maybe media needs to be part of thoughts, maybe not the top level. Because this is really the authoring side. So they'll all be relative to this. Maybe we'll name this thoughts export or thoughts HTML. So you have system thoughts HTML. Package JSON is what runs this thing. Okay, I think that that seems to agree with me. So I'm gonna make a note that I've actually fallen into actual thinking, doing mode. So the resistance is gone, but I had to get to this point where I was asking a question and starting to think about things. But I need to mirror this now. So now what we have is we have thoughts.html. We have thoughts. That's all the same. Common is gone. So what we have is now media. And what's in media? Images, downloads. And here we have our package JSON. Is there anything else? And then we have system. System. What do we have in system? We have the code modules. Snippets. Alright, so we have an updated directory structure. Thoughts system. What is this? Yeah, this pretty much mirrors. Let's call this local media. So we have this thoughts media, local media. So I make a distinction between where you get which media file it's coming out of. So media is here. Here I call it supporting in media. Let's rename this to local media. Just for competing for yes, I had the thought or earlier thought local media images. Alright, so we have this directory structure. So let's say in arbitrary what I want to do is I want to actually create a file in here, but I guess I need to make sure this thing still compiles because I've just really screwed it all up. So require our module manager. That would be require dot system. And this code actually doesn't really do anything now that I think about it. Unable to define. Alright, that's because I moved everything, so I need to close all this stuff. And then here in package JSON, we want to run node system app main. I think that will work. So that will run that. So over here in system app main, require that should work. Definer, that should require. Okay, so this all should be relatively right. I think this should all include things properly. And notice I'm using the new support, or I'm using the. I wonder, does Node support import now? So it requires the Node style module importer, but it would be nice if I could use the same approach on the browser side as I do the server side. Import support in Node.js. Import nodes with Harmony. Modules is not one of them. So it uses a common JS module loader. Legacy decision above for more current status. ES module interoperability. So the idea here is a common module syntax for browser and server. This is probably more complicated than, I guess we won't worry about it. So let me see if this still compiles. So I need a terminal window. And again, this code doesn't really do anything yet, but I will start be adding the other things to this. CD dev, CD, Thotomata, npm, start, or yarn. Can you start with yarn? Error, def k chunk is not a function. Oh, that's true. Because like I defined a whole bunch of stuff here that's actually not implemented. You got all this stuff, so this is maybe not stuff I need anymore right now. In fact, this is all changed, so I'm going to get rid of it. This is all now documented on the wiki. Alright. So let's see if this runs. Yarn start. And it runs, it compiles, that's promising. Now let's just commit this changes the source tree, because everything is moved. Wow. So this is a bunch of changes. Reorganize directory structure. Package JSON is now in root. Code modules are in system. Let's see wiki for details, which aren't in there yet, but they will be. So we have the beginnings of a Alright, so let me talk this out a bit more. Now we have the beginnings of just a skeleton code that doesn't really do anything. But this is where I would start inserting stuff, I guess. So I was going to use Metalsmith, so I could start inserting Metalsmith stuff here. That might be the easiest thing to do, so let me switch to the Metalsmith, my Metalsmith project, and look at this. But before I do that, let me look to see what the state of the art is for Metalsmith, because that project was quite some time ago. Metalsmith. Metalsmith is a static site generator written for Node. It works very much like Gulp does, which is a task runner, in which the configuration file is actually executable JavaScript as opposed to a file full of key value pairs. And I like the idea of code as configuration, especially if the code is really well organized. So what is the latest news on this? That's interesting. So that's essentially what it is. So we load Metalsmith, collections layout markdown permalinks. So we don't need all of these right away. Which ones am I using though? Let's see. Here's the build file. Yeah. That's essentially, I guess we'll just load all the stuff. Well, let me see if I can find some news about this, because I haven't heard anything about Metalsmith latest version. I guess I can go to the GitHub repo for this. GitHub Metalsmith. Are people still updating this thing? Metalsmith IO, resource examples. This is just a website. I guess it's an NPM module. This is it. Latest commit was July 24th. That's not very promising. This makes me wonder if I should just roll my own. Because all Metalsmith uses, when I was looking at the package list, scripts, pretest, test privilege. Well, it's more sophisticated than anything I could write right now. Just in terms of all this test and script stuff. No idea how that stuff works. It's dependencies. I thought vinyl was a dependency. So I could look to see what these things are. That's probably fine. Let's see. NPM Metalsmith. .2.3 is the latest of 40th releases. Last updated 12 months ago. So I wonder if they've dropped it. Or let's look to see what the latest hotness is. So we're using Hexo, Wintersmith, Hexo, Wintersmith, build node, thin and disorganized documentation. I don't like that. Let's take a look and see what this is. When was this? Where's the actual site? Markdown, modern blogging, API documentation. The reason why I liked Metalsmith was because it was very much like Gulp. And I like the Gulp, but Gulp is no longer the new hotness. Assemble. This looks really, ooh, okay. This is something new. Handlebars, documentation can be hard to navigate. This might be the new hotness. Here's DocPad. How old is this pro and con thing? Grav. Jekyll. I want to avoid Ruby by all means, or Python. Hugo. This would be hot too. This is, I think this is a Python thing though. Nanoc. Middleman. Webhook. There's a lot of these stack site generators. The symbol sounds intriguing. It has fewer recommendations. Pro, con, documentation. Where's the website? Bootstrap and Zerb. Grunt, grunt, grunt. Hey, tired again. What do they say about Metalsmith? Metalsmith has core transferring directories of files that can be used for more stack site generation. That's kind of what I was attracted to it. Lots of pros. It's actually pretty cool. Not client-enabled API chaining? What does this mean? Oh. Oh wait, this is... Oh wait, this is left to right Metalsmith. What is this Slack group? That's good to know. So I could like maybe check out the Slack group. Alright, we're gonna stay with this. So we just need to add some packages here. I think these are all dev dependencies. So what is it? Yarn add save. Metalsmith. I have the syntax wrong. Was it yarn install? I can't remember the stupid syntax for this. Using yarn to install packages. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Yarn add package dash dash dev. Yarn add Metalsmith dev. Dev dependencies, pure dependencies, optional dependencies. Is that a development dependency or not? So we added Metalsmith. And we need, I guess we don't need that many packages yet. Yarn add Metalsmith collections. Metalsmith layouts. Metalsmith markdown. And let's add all of them. Metalsmith permalinks. Okay, let's double check the other file. What's Metalsmith define? Oh, so we can define some front matter. Template, I think we have everything else yet. Let's go back to here. Grab this. Let's update the syntax. Const metalsmith. Why is this tabs are event using let me obsessively reformat this. So not all of this is needed, but just like get this ready here. And then all this stuff is metalsmith. What's with this clicking? Use moment define moment. Then sourced content. Use this. So again, metalsmith is a kind of transformation chain. And what I want to do is kind of inspect what's going on inside of it. Is that right? I see these little extra spaces in there that shouldn't be there. Paths, this library load true, use dot build, and that's the end of metalsmith. So every time this runs, this code gets executed, but I'm missing a few of these packages, I think. Let's add them. Make a copy of this. Just throw that up there. Go back to my terminal window, and I just want to make sure I have all these packages are there. Or package JSON, we have metalsmith collections, layout, markdown, permalinks. We don't have drafts or define. Yarn add metalsmith drafts, metalsmith define, metalsmith express, metalsmith watch. I think that's everything. So now if I go back to my code, let's see what this is actually doing. Test metalsmith. Oh, we're using moment as well. My variable. Hello world. Source content. Content is, where will that be? I guess we want to have const source directory source thoughts, which would be equal to what? What does my directory structure look like now? I'm running here in main, so it's going to be up one, up another one, and thoughts. Thoughts. So I think this is what needs to go here. We can confirm that by going to the original source code and seeing what it's actually doing in build.js. So content is, this file is build.js. It is running here, and there's a content directory that's using as the source. So I think that's right. So that applies Markdown to each of these. I'm not sure what this, if that's misspelled. Smarty? I think that's supposed to be Smarty Pants. Let's see. Metalsmith, Markdown, Smarty Pants. Smarty Pants, true. GitHub flavored. What is a Smarty Pants? Oh, this is marked? What is a Smarty Pants option? What is Smarty Pants? Smart typographic punctuation for things like quotes and dashes. You know what? I actually hate that. But let's just leave it in there. Let's format this to my liking. The cat is here. Use template engines. Do I have Jade installed? Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe, is that a dependency? Templates is part of Metalsmith templates. Metalsmith templates. It doesn't have like an ancient version of. When was this? 3 years ago. Good lord. So this predates when Jade was changed and named Pug. I wonder if there's like a. I'm gonna have to roll my own thing here. I think maybe it's been replaced with Metalsmith layouts. It passes your source file, the cycle layout as a variable contents, renders results with the templating engine of your choice. Any templating engine is supported by Consolidate. Yeah, I think I need to replace that. So, smell you later. Yarn help. So uninstall yarn, uninstall. Ugh. Yarn uninstall Metalsmith templates. Or yarn remove. That's not specified in that. Oh, maybe it is gone. Did I not include it? Oh, I'm using layouts here. Why did I think I was using... Oh, am I using both? That's weird. So use templates. What's going on here? That happened. Maybe one of these other... Mysterious. So we'll just remove this for now. Destination, where do these supposed to go? Here it's going build. Const. I guess it would be dot 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 thoughts, or it would be source thought, or thoughts plus a little refactoring here. Thoughts, it would be that plus HTML so our output will be this. And what's this last function? We'll use Metalsmith Express. We don't need any of that right now. Build function error. If error, I think I'm missing. No, that is correct. That's the way the chain works. So this probably won't run, but I'm curious to see what happens. Yarn start. I'm not seeing it. So I guess the thing does look. Hopefully it's just not erasing my hard drive. Where is this called again? I thought I made a... And I don't see it creating like a thoughts directory. But I'm not even sure this is actually running. My variable source thoughts. There was a way of adding a function to this so you could see what was going on. It's probably not in there. It would be in some other project I was using to figure out how the stuff worked, which I've already forgotten. It's not in these. It would be in dev. What would I have called it? This was like the old blog system? Oh, it was in the nerd code base, wasn't it? So this metal file. This was a more complicated one. Combining gulp with Metalsmith. So this is all gulp file. And here I'm using Metalsmith templates. Metalsmith copy. Gulp front matter. Where am I using this? Here we're piping stuff in. But there's a way that you can output stuff. Use swatch reload serve. Could sort that there was a place where I could actually, yeah, okay, so used something like this. Oh, thought I made a. So what I want to see is like what's inside this. So we want console log files. Just to see what's in there. If anything comes out, then I'll consider that kind of a win. Oh, look at that. So what do we get? A big files object. So it's getting everything out of the thoughts folder, but we actually want to glob it, don't we? So we want to pull everything out of thoughts. thought. Alright, so now, if we run this again, okay, again, and no such directory, scanner div thoughtomata thoughts. There's no files in there yet, are there? No, we don't. Oh, I guess I didn't make one. So we need to actually pull that out of this. We'll call this my article thought. So now if I run this again, do we get the same error? No, scanner thoughtomata thoughts. Let's make sure this is not renaming this right. Thoughts. I should have a thought in there now. Alright, so what's this actual error I'm getting? No such file in directory. dsay dev thoughtomata thoughts. Can I not glob like that? For some reason I thought I could. Seemed reasonable. How if I do that? But I want to let's look up the documentation for Metalsmith source. Source directory. How do you ignore certain files? Metalsmith source. Oh, that's not going to help me. Where's this API section? Use source. What does it actually do? That sets the path to the source directory. So how do we glob it? Metalsmith use. Yeah, there's console log. Let's see. Let files equal object keys files. Oops. If I'm just trying to get a sense of what's actually happening in this. So there's no files, or there's no keys. What is this? This is a binary file. So it's getting an object ds store contents buffer data. This is the actual contents of the file. And this is the second file. My article thought. What I want to do is like filter out the things that are not .thought files. How do I do that in Metalsmith? This is where the long slog is going to kick in. Here's my big Smith task. Here I'm saying gulp source file glob. I can file glob here with gulp. Gulpsmith use, I guess Gulpsmith is actually getting the files. Gulp use files mousesmith. I'm surprised that the object keys didn't actually return anything. Did I get debugging working on this? So here I have, that's the file name. Here's the value. Object keys. Data is like, oh, this is string buffer. That's interesting. So I should be able to like just pull a list of files out of this, right? Oops. Where did it go? I thought I made a... It's object keys files. Oh, what's this equals minus bullshit? Anymore. So okay, so there we go. So that's what we're seeing. I just had a little typo in it, so we can see the list of files at least. I think that's a good start, just to see what's going on. File names. And let's get rid of this module weight thing. Okay. Alright, I think that's a good start. Let's do a partial commit to this. Do we want to commit the thought files? Probably not yet. Commit, add metalsmith packages to yarn file. That's really all it does. Not much else going on there. Alright, so I guess I made a small dent. So let's look back at let me write this down here. So when did I start this? Let's see. Pull up the live dashboard, and it looks like I started this an hour ago. It's 12, it's midnight now, so I started this at 11. Oh, is this the right day? How come this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 0. Start chunk 2. And try to make sense of this. Chunk 2. This was like 1 hour. And now I should go to sleep. So notes for chunk 2. Took a while to get going to beat resistance. Told resistance it was worthless. Let's say it did not add value to my life just by being contrary. The resistance is not me. That might be worth adding to my Quiver document. So we think we just did all of these. We made a directory structure. We added a thought file with minimal front matter. We did look at this. And we're at the point now when we're reading a file. And this is going to be where we're going to figure this stuff out. So, um, 2300 set up directory structure and metalsmith. And that's what we got done. So not a bad day. So this is where we go next. For oct. Alright, so I feel pretty good about what I got done. And I think I'm going to call it a night. Tomorrow I'm going to can continue to work on that bit of code I was doing and just really kind of flesh it out. In fact, I'm going to write down here. Tomorrow, look at metalsmith processing. In more depth. There's other options I think that I need to be aware of. So that might be me digging into the source code. The metalsmith source code to see what's actually doing. Alright. Alright. Some progress, some more clarity. Now that I'm actually in the point when I'm processing files, this is actually, I think, the beginning of making something work. So I'm kind of excited by that. I'm tired. So thanks for watching. Tomorrow morning I've got some stuff to look at. That figure came in a day early, so that'll be exciting to look at. That's the Kirito figure from Sword Art Online 2. And something else that came in. Oh, the 36 nail polish holder case. I haven't even opened it yet, but I'll do that tomorrow. After I think I have a dermatologist appointment tomorrow just to see if these bumps can be removed. Finally. So that's it for tonight. Have a good night. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Waiting for a few minutes until this can go away. Waiting. Waiting. I think this is almost done.